Hello and welcome. My name is Jaret Smith, Snowmobile Product Manager, North American Snowmobile Division. On today's Sled Talk Yamaha Snowmobile vlog, we'll be looking at the 2021 Yamaha Transporter Lite. This vehicle is positioned as a sport utility type vehicle. We're really targeting someone who wants to use it for a little bit of work and a little bit of play, but it's really a do-all type snowmobile. So we're going to take you on a quick walk around, show you what separates this from other vehicles in our lineup, and why it might be the ideal vehicle for you if you're looking to get into snowmobiling, you're looking for a vehicle to replace an older snowmobile, or you're just looking for a sled to spend some time outside this winter. With everything going on in the world with COVID, it's great to spend some time outdoors, and why not on a snowmobile? So first we'll talk about overall size. This vehicle is a 7/8 size snowmobile. When we say 7/8, we've shrunk down the vehicle. So it's got narrower side panels, narrower front ski stance at 38 inches, and the front nose is shrunk back as well. So it's that more compact size. It's also more lightweight. We're calling this an ultra lightweight sport utility or sport vehicle because it's a single cylinder. It's nice and lightweight on the front skis. It's got a different tunnel design than our regular snowmobiles to help reduce some weight. And it's also got really good flotation. So if you're going to take this snowmobile and you say, what would I use it for? This vehicle is really looking for someone who wants to maybe trail ride on the weekend with some friends, but then they have some duties around their house, or around their cottage, or around their cabin. So you can take it into the bush and get some firewood. You can take it ice fishing. You could go out ice skating, let's say, and you want to make a pond hockey rink or something like that. You could easily haul out some nets with a sleigh, similar to like a pond behind us. But it lets you have that versatility. The engine in this vehicle is a single cylinder 2-stroke, so it's 397 cc, but it has some really neat tech. So being a single cylinder, liquid cooled, it has an exhaust power valve, puts about 65 horsepower out, and it's fuel injected. It has electric start, so you're going to be able to turn the key and go whenever you want to spend some time on it, but it also has a recoil backup. So people that are venturing in those utility type environments, off trail, and they want to have that recoil backup, that's an important feature. On the rear of the vehicle, it's a 1.6 Camso Cobra. You're going to get some good flotation with that. You'll see nowadays 1.5, 1.6 is fairly common track. It's no longer utility type track or a deep snow mountain type track, but it's a well-rounded track that you could spend some time on trail, get some good grip. Lugs are a bit softer, so they'll give you that grip in the looser snow conditions, but yet it has really good trail manners. So it'll allow you to use it for both on and off trail. On the back, you have some room for luggage. If you're going to do an overnight trip and some trail riding, you can easily put some tools back there, haul some firewood, anything like that you're looking on the rear. When we go to the front of the snowmobile, we mentioned it's a 38-inch ski stance. It does have our Yamaha mountain skis, so they're a little bit wider ski. What that's going to do is it's going to keep the front end up. So if you're venturing areas that are not a packed path, or let's say it's a fresh snow situation, you're going to keep the front end up and let that snowmobile cruise through those areas much easier with those front Yamaha mountain skis in this vehicle. They also are a single keel, so they got really good trail manners in the corner, in loose snow. I've spent quite a bit of time with these skis in the past and really enjoyed them on trail as well with that single keel. Clutching for this vehicle is great for a beginner. It has a really low engagement, so it takes off really smooth. It engages the clutches and grabs the belt smoothly. So if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of snowmobile experience and you're looking to get into snowmobiling, this is the kind of snowmobile you're looking for. You're not looking for a really high horsepower, high strung 2-stroke, but you're looking for something that you can learn the fundamentals of a snowmobile. You can ease into the clutching where it's not intimidating, and you can take off nice and slow without digging that trench in the snow if you're in a tight situation. So clutching's really nice for that beginner in mind, or even someone that's in a tight terrain and you don't want to get stuck in the deep snow. By engaging the clutches really nice and smooth, you won't trench that rear of the snowmobile, and it's a lot easier to not get stuck when you have really nice smooth engagement. In the event that you do come into a situation where the track starts to spin, you think that you're going to get stuck, a key benefit of this is the articulating rear suspension. So on the rear of the snowmobile, the rails actually tip up. So if someone were to get stuck and need to back themselves out, this rear suspension will actually come up, out, just like that. So when the hole is traditionally digging the track in, when you hit back and up, and you want to come up, this will pull itself out of that hole. So the articulating rear suspension is a definite benefit of the Transporter Lite. Comparison to other models as well, let's say in our 400 series lineup, like the SX Venom, you'll see this has more of a mountain-inspired seat, a seat you'd see typically on our XTX type snowmobile. It sits the rider a little bit higher, gets you in a little nicer sitting position, so you're at a more upright position, you're in a little more control, and you also have a little more cushion in the seat when you're on those long, high-mile days if you're going to put some real miles on the snowmobile. Wind protection has a tall windshield, so it's going to put that air above you, keep the air off your chest on the cold days, and it has some air also that'll put it away from your hands. Speaking of hands, we do have heated grips and heated thumb roamer with right here on-off positions. You can adjust and you can put it on or off. Simple switches, easy to reach. High-low for the headlights is also on here, and a big one is electronic engine reverse. So this vehicle has push-button reverse, which allows you to go forward or reverse really easily right here with push-button reverse. The grab handle right here is if you're going to be off trail and you need to shift your weight and get over. This is nice for someone to grab onto. You get a really solid feel there. On the front of the sled, this one you'll see is equipped with an accessory bumper. So if you're someone that does venture off trail and you're getting into some brush and some thick twigs and stuff like that, and you want to keep it off the bodywork of the snowmobile and also have somewhere to grab onto and lift the front of that sled, this is a great bumper through our accessory line that bolts right up and gives you those options. Yamaha blue for all of the A-arms and spindles. Simple shock absorbers. Again, we don't want to make this a complicated vehicle. We want it where it's easy to work on, easy to maintain. So simple shock absorbers, coil springs, Yamaha skis, which we talked about. As I transition through the snowmobile, we talked about very streamlined bodywork. It's thinner than a normal Sidewinder or Viper, and that's to get that overall size down where it doesn't feel intimidating. If you're new to snowmobiles, you don't want a great big sled that you can't maneuver. You want to be able to get on here and feel like you're in control and feel comfortable riding this vehicle. And that's where the Transporter Lite at 7/8 size and lightweight will give you that. Other things that we want to talk through: fuel economy, single cylinder, simple to maintain, simple to also use with regards to one spark plug, not a lot of wear and tear on the belt, being it's not a huge high horsepower snowmobile, but there's some big benefits to that single. When you're comparing it to an equivalent model that you might see or a competitive model, it is fuel injected. So it's going to be better on fuel. It's a cleaner running engine than a lot of fan cooled and other two-strokes out there. And that helps with regards to smoke, fuel economy, oil consumption. All those are good positives with this single cylinder two-stroke engine. So throughout this vlog, we're going to visit another member of the North American Snowmobile team. He spent some time on this vehicle for a week or so. We'll get his feedback, see what he thinks about it. And then later on, we're also going to take a look at a comparison between an icon for Yamaha snowmobiles, the Yamaha Bravo, versus the Transporter Lite. Hey guys, I'm here with Chris Poirier, North American Snowmobile team member on the sales side. I wasn't able to pick up this Transporter Lite and fit it in my trailer, so Chris picked it up for me, and he's had it for a week or so now, working in the bush and spending some time on it. So welcome, Chris. We wanted to just talk about the sled and see how you like it.
How's it going? Yeah, no, the sled's been awesome. I kind of picked it up right before Christmas, and we got that dump of snow right over the Christmas break, so it was great. Got a little bit of land here at the house and lots of bush that needs to be cleared, so I thought I'd put it to use since we had the snow on the ground. Back where I am, it's pretty tight and twisty back here, so a full-size sled's a little bit challenging. So the first thing I would say is it's really nice to kind of navigate through the tight bush. I got some wood and stuff like that I got to be clearing back here, so it's been kind of real handy to have over the break.
Well, that sounds good, and that was one of the key features, you know, that we separated the T-Lite with, is the 7/8 size, having that lightweight maneuverability, that single cylinder two-stroke, and also I think, I don't know about how you felt over the first week or so, but just that low engagement of those clutches, that torque right off the low end, lets you, crawl through those tight spots. You're not spinning the track. What do you think of the engagement and how that motor works with this clutching setup?
Yeah, that's exactly it, like spot on. It's especially when you're trying to get around stuff nice and be precise with it, if you will. It doesn't lurch out of your hands. It's really super easy to kind of point and shoot where you want to go.
Yeah. And then I see you got your chainsaw on the back, so you do have the rack with a little bit of storage on the back, so you know you can haul something out to the bush without having to carry it with you, or you could secure it safely, basically, and then spend your time in the bush working away, cutting some logs and stuff like you've been doing.
Yeah, that's been real handy. I got some big ash that's come down there not that long ago, so just trying to tidy that up, and thought it'd be a good opportunity to do that while we were off during the break. And yeah, so I thought I'd just put it to the test, and yeah, it worked out really well. So kind of fits perfectly.
Yeah, and your positioning is pretty ideal for this. Like, we've run big mile tours before, gone to Quebec. We typically will run sidewinders. I know last year we had a really good trip near the end of March in Quebec, and you know, we usually put on, that's a 225 mile a day, but it's a different snowmobile, right? We're cruising at big speeds or running big mile an hour, but when you're working around your property here with acreage or somebody similar to you, you know, that has a little bit of bush they want to get out to and work, but also use around the house, this is a different snowmobile for that compared to your Sidewinder or working with a Sidewinder, right?
100%. And I've had sidewinders out here before the last couple winters, just kind of tooling around a little bit, and it's just really not the right thing. It's just too tight back here. So it's, you know, from an application standpoint, this is, you know, utilitarian standpoint, this is absolutely perfect for using around here. I wouldn't want to come back here with the Sidewinder anymore.
Yeah, and I think another good point is you mentioned, and you've been your son has a snow scoot, so you've been following him around and, you know, spending some good family time with him. And again, instead of spending it on a Sidewinder, taking it slow speeds, which is not really what the Sidewinder is designed for, this sled's right at home, and following a snow scoot around and spending that time with your son on the snow.
Yeah, that's been great, you know, and this winter with the snow on the ground over the break, it was awesome. We actually used that quite a bit. We did a lot of cat and mouse through the bush here, just tooling around, and it was really nice to have him, you know, be able to follow along with me and kind of teach him some responsibility of, you know, positioning and where you want to be and how to follow and that kind of thing. So it was nice to have the functionality of that as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for your time joining us today, Chris. So we appreciate it. I hope you had a great time on the Transporter Lite over the last week or so, and we appreciate your feedback.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
So now we want to compare the Transporter Lite to some previous icons in the Yamaha snowmobiles lineup, this one being the Yamaha Bravo. Yamaha Bravo, I'll say, is probably one of the most successful snowmobiles that we've had, running from 1982 all the way to 2011 with very little changes to engine, suspension, chassis. Pretty amazing to have a snowmobile have that long of a run. We can contribute a lot of that success to the simplicity of the Yamaha Bravo. It's lightweight, it was also a single cylinder 2-stroke, easy to work on, easy to maintain, and super reliable. This snowmobile's been put away for a few years. I pulled it out, cleaned the carb, 2 pulls later the thing's running, and it fires up consistently on 1 to 2 pulls. So really easy to maintain and really simple snowmobile. But there are some differences. When we built this snowmobile, we acknowledged that this snowmobile was very successful in the utility market. Not this one's particular being a short track, but the LT or 136, also known as Trapper, and the Transporter variant. The name for this snowmobile actually originated from the Bravo Transporter. We saw some of the attributes of the Bravo Transporter which made it so unique in comparison to this short track. A little bit longer track, a little bit better bump bridging capability, and a little bit overall performance when you're getting in off-trail situations. And we felt the Transporter Lite was a good representation of that when we brought it to the market. It initially started with the Transporter 600, knowing that down the road we would bring this one to the market. When we developed this vehicle, one key point to note is side by side throughout the development we had a Bravo LT. We benchmarked the Bravo LT in all categories of the snowmobile, and throughout the prototype and development stages, we compared the vehicles to that Bravo LT. We learned a lot with how the Bravo LT could float over snow using that flat belly pan, keeps the front end up, and also the lightweight maneuverability, how simple it was to operate. And there were some really good takeaways as we were comparing the Transporter Lite. There are, however, some big advancements in technology. When you go from a 1980 snowmobile to a 2021, obviously there's going to be some technology changes. But we wanted to keep some of the fundamentals that you'll find in a Bravo on a Transporter Lite. Simple to work on is a big one. So a single cylinder 2-stroke, 1 spark plug. Once you take the hood and side panels off, you can get to a lot of stuff on this vehicle, so that was important. Also simpler to maintain. A 2-stroke is not as complex to maintain as some of our other 4-stroke. It also gives you that ultra lightweight. So we wanted to keep some of those core competencies from the Bravo and transfer them over to the Transporter Lite. There was, however, lots of room for improvement. The biggest one being ride and suspension. How you sit on a vehicle is how the snowmobile trail or conditions you're riding on transfers to your body. When you're sitting on a Bravo, or an older snowmobile in general for that matter, you sit in a more traditional back stance. You're not rider forward. When that suspension travels and all the bump comes through the rear of the vehicle, it's going right into your spine. You don't get that benefit of rider forward. If you also look how I'm sitting, my knees are very elevated with regards to where I'm sitting. I'm kind of cramped in the handlebar position. So it's not as forward or advantageous for a big long trail ride in this kind of position. When we move over to the Transporter Lite, we do have a taller seat in comparison to the Venom, and it's rider forward. So my back is at a better angle, my knees are bent, I'm in a more controlled position. If I wanted to get side to side, let's say I'm leaning through a corner in a tight position, I have that availability. It's more natural because I'm sitting above my knees. So it's easier to transition side by side and also to stand up. It's really natural to stand up on something like this. So throughout testing, that was a big point of a positive for Transporter Lite in comparison to some of the older tech on, let's say, a Bravo or a Bravo LT, is the riding position, the suspension. When we started to phase out Bravo, it had a really great run, but it was starting to lack on things like suspension travel. It still had leaf springs in the front, limited rear suspension travel. And some of our competitors have other vehicles that are positioning towards new riders or lightweight utility, but they compromise on some of the suspension. That was something we didn't want to do with this vehicle. You have really good suspension travel in the front end. It's not, it's full gas shocks with a 38-inch stance. It uses our mountain type spindles on the side of the vehicle. So great suspension ride on the front, and on the back you also have quite a bit of travel. So if you're gonna use this vehicle for trail riding as well as utility, you got really good trail manners. The Yamaha mountain skis are nice and wide, really good flotation. Where the Bravo uses the belly pan, as we mentioned, to keep the front end up, this lightweight front end and the rake of the spindles putting it a bit forward allows the mountain skis to stay on top of the snow and give you that flotation. Wind protection, that's a monster of a windshield on the Bravo. So it's gonna block just about everything, but you're sitting at a different position as well. We're using more of a curve on this windshield to deflect the air above you. We're also channeling the wind to the side of where your hand guards, or your hands would be, sorry, keeping that air off of your hands. So it'll keep you warm with a taller windshield than some of the other variants you'll see, as in like SX Venom or Venom Mountain. Nice bright headlight on the front of this vehicle, and we do feature that is an accessory bumper, but gives you that protection to the front of the vehicle. Also lets you be able to lift the snowmobile really easy if you had to. Again, it's a lightweight 2-stroke, so it's good for that utility type rider. So with this comparison, we really wanted to show you the differences between the Bravo and the Transporter Lite. Very iconic snowmobile. We can't take anything away from the Bravo. It's still one of my favorite sleds. I absolutely love it. And we really learned a lot from that vehicle when we were building this one. So we're confident in saying this is the closest replacement we've had to the Bravo LT for that lightweight, simple to use, not intimidating snowmobile. And this really is our modern day Bravo LT replacement. And we encourage you to consider the Transporter Lite if you're looking for a snowmobile for your cabin, your cottage, or if you're getting into snowmobiling, or even if you're just looking for a snowmobile that's not as big as these new sleds. A lot of these new sleds, especially in utility and even some of the sport ones, are intimidating. They're huge snowmobiles, they're heavy. They're not something that you can get on and really transfer your weight and feel in control of. This is a great snowmobile for that. It's not intimidating, it's a little smaller size with the 7/8. It's simple to work on with the 2-stroke and the single cylinder. There's not a lot of complex parts to go wrong. So if you're considering a vehicle for any of those means, we definitely recommend considering the Transporter Lite. We hope you learned a little bit about it through this video. If you do have questions, by all means, let us know and we'll try our best to answer them. But thank you for your time today and watching. We hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more vlogs this season.